Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is here, and as their fans know, From Software is not a particularly handholdy game developer. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 things Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree doesn't tell you. Starting off at number 10, it's how to actually access the DLC. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a little obvious for a list like this, and for any other game, yeah, I agree. This is a From Software game, though, so here I think it's pretty worth saying. This game does not tell you where you have to go or what you have to do to access the DLC. It's not as arcane as other games from. You don't have to let yourself get grabbed by a random hand in some corner of the map, but it's not exactly clear unless you know ahead of time what you're doing. The most important step to accessing the DLC is that you need to be able to reach Morrowind Palace. The boss here, Moga, Lord of Blood, is one of the tougher optional fights in the game, and if you struggle with him, you're going to have trouble with the DLC, so be prepared. Being around level 130 to 150 is good. Get a fully upgraded weapon, 12 or more healing flasks. That'll make the opening hours of the DLC go relatively smoothly. On top of Moga, there's another demigod you have to beat for some reason, and that's Rodden. He's much easier than the Lord of Blood, though, so he shouldn't be much of a problem if you're able to beat him. With Moga and Rodden dead, a new NPC is going to appear standing by that weird-looking thing on the altar in the boss room.
I'm Leda, and like you, I was guided by faith along his honorable path. Touch the withered arm, and you too will be transported.
And if you touch the hand coming out of the egg, which is the sort of the thing you would say when you're talking about these games, then you're sent to the lands between. Not that difficult to grasp if you know what to do, but worth mentioning because it's the textbook example of something the game doesn't tell you.
Dearest Nicola, you must abide alone a while.
And number 9, if you're feeling underpowered, do this. So the game does a pretty good job of explaining how these new items, called Erdtree fragments, work. They're mainly found at 2 spots, churches and at checkpoints called Miquella's Cross. These things are incredibly useful as they increase your attack and defense while in the DLC area, but you need to get a lot of them before you can really start noticing any difference. So, if you're starting out with this DLC and you're getting killed left and right, an easy way to even the playing field is just to explore the open world and find more of these things. The trick here is that even though the game might make you think these crosses are only found on the Golden Path, they aren't. You can find them all over. So stop smashing your head against the boss that you might be struggling with and just start exploring. There's huge areas of the game that you never have to find to complete the DLC. Like, there's plenty of Erdtree fragments hidden around. They're not just at crosses either. You can find them on dead bodies. Certain mini-boss enemies will drop them. They're all over, and they can build up quite a collection without facing a single boss. So that's my suggestion. If you're getting beat down in one of these legacy dungeon kind of areas, start wandering around. Even if you're not getting runes to level up, just finding more of these Erdtree fragments is going to make a big difference. And number 8, get an ice weapon. Okay, enough messing around. This is a last resort option. This is when you've given up and you don't even care about getting good. It's when you want to press the I win button. A lot of enemies in this DLC are fire-based, or they just have a natural weakness to ice, and that includes the area's big bad guy, Mesmer. So an easy way to beat him is to use a weapon with an ice element from an Ash of War, or just use a weapon that's innately ice-based. The best one out there is back in the main game on the Mountain of the Giants. Look for the giant conquering hero's grave on the path to the top of the mountain, and if you beat the boss inside, you'll get the Zammer curved sword, a beast if you're a strength and dexterity build. Just level it up to the max. It won't be hard. I mean, in the DLC area, you drop level 10 upgrade material all over the place, so use the sword and abuse its skill as often as possible. It's a brainless weapon that's highly damaging and easy to use. Getting it from the hero's grave, little tricky, but worth the effort for the DLC. If you want to... I mean, I hesitate to say it makes the game easy, but way easier. And number 7, there is a powerful and free buff to find. Hidden in the southern section of the map is an NPC that's extremely helpful. They'll give you a special one-time use item you can temporarily raise all your defenses with. Might sound limiting, but every time you go back, they recharge the item for free.
If you hunger for dragon communion and seek to slay Baal, the vilest of dragons, then I shall grant you strength, time and again.
The power can increase your survivability by a ton depending on the fight, and the item itself is completely free, so it's worth hunting down. The item is the Ancient Dragon's Blessing, and to get it, you need to find the Grand Altar of Dragon Communion on the southern side of the map. Getting there, not straightforward per se. There's no direct way to reach it on the map. What you do have to do to get to this area is find a cave called the Dragon's Pit in the Scadu Atlas Plateau. You'll know it because of the broken dragon statues outside. No, they're not dragon butts per se, just broken dragon statues. You'll get it, you'll get it. It seems like a standard cave dungeon, but if you beat this place, you reach the roof of a jagged peak. It's a whole new area, and from here you just head straight towards this enormous dragon corpse, and that's where the NPC is. Talk to them, agree to do what they want. I mean, unless you're not comfortable with it, and you'll get the Ancient Dragon's Blessing. I'm sorry. Which you can use whenever you want at no FP cost, and it gets charged for free by coming back and talking to them. Kind of inconvenient, but it is a powerful buff. And number 6, there are no walking mausoleums, but there is an alternative. In the base game, there's these walking mausoleums that can be used to duplicate boss remembrances, so you can unlock both of their weapons. That's great and all, but what if you used all these things, but still want to duplicate some of the bosses from the DLC? There is a way, it's just easy to miss, like really, really easy to miss. Scattered about some of the most obscure sections of the maps, and I'm saying so obscure I'm pretty sure I'm not even allowed to show them. There are the same headless corpse on a slab that you'll see inside a mausoleum, couple of them around. They allow you to duplicate remembrances in the DLC. There's probably enough out there to make a copy of all of them. They're unmarked. They're just hanging out in the open world in the middle of a field, so unless you know they're in there, they're real easy to miss. I can't necessarily show you where they are in the map, but I can at least tell you that yes, they are in the game, and it is very helpful that they are there. You can play this thing for dozens of hours without noticing them at all, so I figured it would be helpful to point them out, if not point at them directly. Now you can copy remembrances and get both weapons. Moving on to number 5, the Smith script weapons are amazing. These weapons that are commonly found in any location with a forge in the title, they seem fairly generic. They're kind of forgettable looking, they don't have a unique weapon arts attached to them, but looks can be deceiving. Whether they're a spear, an axe, a great hammer, even a shield, these things all have one thing in common. They're throwing weapons. No, that doesn't mean they're just common consumables. They're standard weapons you can upgrade and use normally. It's just that when you press R2 instead of doing the usual heavy attack, your character throws them. It cannot be understated just how useful this can be for strength or dexterity focused players. It's basically a projectile that never runs out of ammo and uses no FP. Upgrade these things enough, and they can do impressive damage even from a distance, making them excellent tools for drawing out enemies or dealing with long-range spellcasters. The only downside is they don't have quite the range of a bow and arrow, but they can travel at least as far, if not farther, than your regular throwing weapons. Some are more gimmicky than others, like the shield, but stuff like the spear, incredibly useful. These things may just look like generic weapons, but they are amazing. And number 4, the southeastern map fragment is the hardest to get. Getting all the maps to get a complete picture of the Realm of Shadow isn't exactly easy, but most of the map fragments can be found relatively easy if you know where to look and head in the right direction. But there's one map that's going to take a little extra effort to find, and it's by far the hardest section of the map to reach. If you've ever looked at any of the deep valleys and rivers in the southeastern section of the map and wondered how the heck you're supposed to get down there, hopefully this will help. I'm not going to give a full blow-by-blow rundown of how to find the map, but to get you on the right track, you'll want to find a very easy-to-miss ladder from the Shadow Keep right outside the entrance. to the specimen storehouse. There's a section of the wall that seems to lead to a dead end, but if you look around, you'll find a ladder. Climb down the ladder and then pass through the passage behind a waterfall. This leads to a room with just a painting in it. You might think that's it, but there is actually more here. There's an illusory wall on the right side of the room. Reveal it and continue down that path. You'll find a coffin to ride, which of course you ride, and you end up in a place called the Castle Watering Hole. There's a lot more to finding the actual map piece I don't want to spoil, but just keep going from there. There's nothing else quite as obscure as that illusory wall, so you should be able to find the rest of the way yourself. Huge section of the map is hidden behind this random fake wall. It's crazy. And number 3, pesky furnace golem blocking the way, just wake them up. This is one of the many crazy little secrets hidden in Shadow of the Erdtree, and a good example of just how difficult these things can be. After reaching the castle water hole as described from the previous entry, there's a small ruins nearby called the Ruins of Unt. Looks like an interesting place to explore, but there's a problem. The entrance inside is blocked by a dead furnace golem. Might look like it's just part of the scenery, but if you look at the map, you can tell there's something in this place. There's just no other way inside. So what's the trick? Well, if you climb up to the nearby roof, you get a decent view of the furnace golem. Do you climb it? Well, no, that does not work. I tried to be clever and use a fire pot to activate the golem. That does nothing. It doesn't work. Then I realized this isn't a fire golem, it's a furnace golem. So a regular old fire pot is not enough. You need to throw a furnace pot on the golem, and that wakes it up. So that is what worked. I was not wrong. Keep in mind, this isn't some explained mechanic or an at-all obvious thing to do. You just kind of got to get into the From Software mindset to figure it out. There's no hints at all that this will work. All you have to go on is that there's a dead golem and a rooftop that's close enough to throw a pot at it. So when you're playing this thing, be observant and experiment, because sometimes some of these dumb ideas you might have will actually do something. And number 2 is get an assist for fighting Mesmer. This is one of the toughest battles in the DLC, so you'll want to take any help you can get. Along with whatever spirit summon you have, you can call an assist from this guy called Hornset, the mummy-looking dude you sometimes find in the Mikula Crosses. To get this help, talk to him and exhaust his dialogue whenever you find him. After meeting him once, which you shouldn't have any trouble doing, look on the map, see where he's moved to, and go talk to him again. Eventually, he'll say that he wants to help you fight Mesmer. There's no summoning sign outside the boss door, but there is one inside, and it's very easy to miss in the middle of the chaos of the battle, but Hornset's summoning sign is just a few steps to the right as you enter into the fog gate.
Mesmer, foe of my beloved, in vengeance for the flame, my blade I...
The guy's help is absolutely invaluable in this fight. On your own, this battle is extremely difficult, but with a little help, it's a lot more manageable. And finally, at number 1, how to become a bear. Step 1, technically you're going to have to generate most of the power. No. If you saw the trailer, you probably saw the ridiculous looking ability where you summon a giant bear head and roar. Well, it's in the game, but finding it's not super easy. That's only step 1 for becoming a bear. It's a 2-step process. First, you have to look the part, which means you can't be small and slender, and you can't be smooth. But mainly, you're going to have to find the Northern Nameless Mausoleum. The only way to get to this place is to take an unmarked tunnel near a small pond on the eastern part of the Skadu Atlas, which leads down to some narrow ravines. There are some ruins, and eventually you'll find a spirit spring that will take you up to a plateau that has the mausoleum there. Inside, an enemy named the Red Bear, who's not too difficult if you play it safe. You gotta beat him, and if you kill him, you get this entire set, including the Red Bear's claws, which are the fist weapons that literally make you fight like a bear. It's actually an awesome weapon with a unique moveset, not just a funny gimmick. This thing seems like it could be very effective if upgraded. Next, you have to get the actual Bear Roar spell, which is not too far off. Head north in the ravine, past a bunch of scarlet rot pests. You reach a forest full of rune bears. There's a special one in a clearing called the Great Red Bear. That's who you need to take out next. Kill it, and you get the Roar of Rugalia, and now you got the ultimate Red Bear set. Now, you truly are a bear. Sounds like a meme, and I guess it is kind of a meme, but with the right stats, it's legit. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconHero. We'll see you next time right here on GameRanx.